What is up, Gamer Army? Welcome to another super exciting episode of Psycho Gamer. I am your host, Aubrey, and today we are going to go over an interview that happened just last night between Retro Ralph and a guy from Arcade1up named John D. He is one of the head guys that likes to give lots of information, and last night he was amazing with the amount of information he kind of let slip. So stay tuned. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and turn on the post notifications. And we're going to go over some of that really cool stuff that I took lots of notes on right after this. Welcome back once again, guys. I hope you guys are as excited as I am to go over this. Now, last night, Arcade1up's John D was interviewed by Retro Ralph on a YouTube channel called The 1-Up Weekly. Gave a lot of really good questions, not just from the moderators, such as Retro Ralph, but also a lot of questions from people who were in the chat room, because it was a live stream. It was 2 hours long. They threw every question they possibly could at him, trying to get as much information as they could for you. And we are going to dissect that a little bit. So I'm going to be going over some of my notes that I went over right here. And you guys feel free to leave some questions down below. Some things that maybe you want to know. Maybe we can pass them on to Retro Ralph. Maybe get some other answers. So I'm sure super technical questions aren't going to be able to be answered that easily. But if you do have questions and you want to see this interview a little more in depth and detailed, just head over to the 1-Up Weekly. I will post a link below for the interview that happened last night, just so you can take a look at it if you want to hear straight from the horse's mouth. Hopefully, my video is not going to be 2 hours long, so it'll be a little bit of a good breakdown for you. All right. So from what John D mentioned during the interview, I'm going to go just basically in order as they went over with it. They are going to be revisiting some variations of older Arcade1up cabinets, such as the Atari 12-in-1. They're looking at a Tempest format. They are looking at doing a legacy lineup of some of the more classic games. Now, what does that mean in terms of legacy lineup? They're trying to keep it in the $299 price point, which I think is a sweet spot for a lot of people. Now, they aren't going to have Wi-Fi. They aren't going to come with risers at that point. But at that point, that's more stuff that you may want to go buy. They are not going to have lit up marquees or anything like that. So those are things you kind of have to look forward to. Now, if you want to actually have these classic machines just to have the classic machines, yeah, you would probably want to get these ones and do some modifications or upgrades to make it look like you would really want to, whether it's through third-party companies or through their website, because apparently, according to John D, by the end of this year, they should be starting to sell upgrade parts and components such as backlit marquees and some upgraded parts as well. So one of the other things that he gave information on was Golden Axe. The current Golden Axe is completely sold out at the $399 price point. So if you did not get it, unfortunately, you will not be getting it at that price point. But never fret. Sometime in 2021, they are releasing it to retail. Yes, it's going to come to possibly Walmart, Best Buy, any of these other retailers, maybe GameStop, just so that you can still get your hands on them. You are not going to get the special pricing, though. So that's a big boo. Thumbs down on that one, but thumbs up that they are going to be re-releasing it so many people aren't left out in the cold when it comes to it. Big Buck Hunter is going to be running at 60 frames per second, which, according to him, that is actually faster than the arcade machine itself. Now, he did leak that there was a possibility of a few more light gun games on the horizon. You're going to like this. he did mention Time Crisis, House of the Dead, Terminator. I'm assuming that's the Terminator 2 game because they actually have that kind of in the background. So that would be really, really cool to actually see released either as a multicade in terms of shooters or just individual shooters on their own. I mean, a Time Crisis would be really cool. But how are they going to do these ones? Now, they did ask him about having larger screens since the Big Buck Hunter is only a 17-inch screen. So he did hint at the fact that they are looking into possibly releasing some with bigger screens, but that's going to be way down the line. So we'll just have to look out for more information based off of that. Now, went on to Super Pac-Man. Apparently there are more firmware updates coming which are going to edit things such as the dip switches. There were a couple other things I don't think I wrote down by accident. Miss Pac-Man is going to be getting some actual patches as well. One is going to deal with the sound issues a lot of people have really been having with the current Miss Pac-Man. If you aren't familiar with that, there's a lot of people whose sound is really low, they can barely hear it, or they just can't adjust the audio at all when it comes to it. So that's going to be a firmware update. Apparently people are also having game save issues where the game's not saving unless they have to do some stupid little workaround to get the game to actually save and turn the machine off and then turn it back on, and then the games are all saved. So that's a couple of things. I think there's another issue with graphical issues where it's the game's not looking as good, it's looking a little fuzzy for some people. Did mention about a couple multicades they might be considering, but didn't really go into too much detail in there. Now the next one is going to have to do with a game that was leaked by GameStop the other day. You know which one I'm talking about, guys. Outrun. He did talk about it quite a bit without giving away too much information on it. Now, this year, 2020, they are planning on releasing a sit-down version of Outrun. Yes, you heard that here. How much is the game going to be? He didn't say. But if it's going to be on par with, say, the Star Wars sit-down, you're probably going to be looking at about a $500 to $600 kind of range, which wouldn't surprise me when it came to that one. Next year, they are looking at having a stand-up variation of it coming out. When? We don't know. We'll have to see at CES when they go to announce all of their games for, I'm assuming, the spring lineup or possibly even through the whole year. So we're just going to have to keep our eyes out for that. He did announce, though, that they were originally thinking of doing 5 games on this particular machine. However, they are going to limit it to 4 games. 4 games counting Outrun. What do you want to see those other 3 games actually be? So, like I said, CES, they are going to announce their 2021 lineup. They did ask about a Back to the Future machine. They have no plans right now for any kind of Back to the Future machine. Now, Marvel Pinball. They did talk about Marvel Pinball. When is it going to be released? But John, GameStop posted April 30th. Well, that's not the case. They have the wrong release date. They just put something up there to put something up there, it sounds like. So somebody at GameStop must have goofed, and they were probably just toying around with it and just put it out there for release. So those of you who have already pre-ordered it, you should be getting it much sooner than that. When? Well, he is saying that they're hoping to release it this year by Christmas. We'll look more into that in just a second. Let's see, where are some of the other things? One surprise cabinet. They were talking about Off-Road Challenge. I'm not sure if that was something legitimate or if that was their code name for Outrun. They did show off this giant Pac-Man joystick, which apparently they're going to be releasing that. I'm assuming it's going to have some games on it. They did show a cool little video for Retro Ralph playing with it at CES earlier this year. But they do have also plans to release a giant Atari joystick as well as a Disney joystick. He did briefly talk about the Polaroid photo booth, where you'll be able to actually kind of get this look and feel of an actual photo booth. Will it be a full-size photo booth like what we would normally see at an arcade? They didn't really go too much into detail about it, but apparently it is a collaboration between Arcade1up as well as Polaroid. They mentioned about a backlit marquee coming by the end of the year, or backlit marquees that you can buy on the Arcade1up website by the end of this year. One machine that was confirmed, though, Smash TV. We'll probably see more about it at CES in, I think it's January, to see what actually happens with that. Smash TV, though, looks like it's going to be greenlit because it is just such an amazing game. Going over to pinball, he did talk about the pinball machines a little bit. They did remove Wi-Fi from the first wave of pinball machines. So Mars Attacks, Star Wars, and Marvel Pinball, just in general, have had their Wi-Fi removed from all of them. Why? Well, the only reason why they would really have it in their machines, according to him, would be for just doing updates. So they're looking at having just these micro USB or even USB ports in them so people can just transfer from their computers and do the patches like that. So it's going to be more cost effective for them for these machines. They got to cut costs pretty much anywhere they can to keep the prices as low as they possibly can, which, according to GameStop, is looking around a $550 mark. Their back screen is going to be an 8-inch screen, which is a little bigger from the 7 inches they originally showed. It is going to have haptic feedback, 3 solenoids. Now, obviously, in pinball machines, these have a lot of moving parts, and when you have these solenoids that are bouncing all over the place, they will wear out. So they have made it where you can replace some of these parts much easier and much more effectively than, just sucking it up and having to go and spend hundreds of dollars someplace to have somebody come and fix it. There's going to be one SKU of each of these models. So that means there's 3 machines. There's going to be 3 SKUs. He did say they're not going to pull a Pac-Man and have 15 different SKUs for these particular games. So if you are worried about, hey, do I want to get this Best Buy version, or do I want to wait and see if they're going to have a more limited edition Costco version, he did confirm that there will not be that happening. So each company is going to have the exact same one, which I'm very happy with. Mars Attacks, that one is going to be strictly through the Arcade1up website. So if you were looking forward to that one, you are going to have to get that one through the website whenever pre-orders as well as sales start. Marvel and Star Wars, they are going to be both sold through retailers such as GameStop, Costco, Best Buy, Walmart, any of those main places. Canada, don't fret. While the US is supposed to be getting Arcade1up pinball machines this year, you're supposed to start getting them next year. So you're probably going to be looking at the brick.com as well as the Arcade1up website. Each table has been confirmed to have 10 games on each table, which is nice that they're not just going to give us 2 or 3 little pinball tables in each one of these games. Some of the other things we're looking at, Golden Tee is going to be getting a re-release, which they are going to be updating the cabinet, and I'm assuming they're probably going to be updating the games that are in there. Now, if you do like that, they are actually adding a bowling game in this particular upcoming Golden Tee cabinet, which they're talking about. It's supposed to have a backlit marquee and a couple other bonus features they didn't necessarily say. There apparently is a Konami cabinet coming with some games on it. He didn't really go into detail on that. Now, he did kind of hint at Star Wars Trilogy Arcade coming, but then he kind of pulled back on that. So Don't know if that's actually going to be something on the horizon. It would be awesome to see that game because I remember playing that in the arcades and that sit down machine. And dude, that was one of the coolest machines I had ever actually played an arcade machine in, next to maybe the Jurassic Park one. They are going to be updating Street Fighter 2. They're going to be releasing a Street Fighter 2 live cabinet, and it's going to be updated, different configurations coming. They're wanting to see the blue cabinet. What about you guys? What do you want to see with an updated Street Fighter 2 cabinet? I know they've already released a couple of them, like the head-to-head Black Edition and the standard Street Fighter 2 with all those different Street Fighter games on it. Post down below. I want to see what you guys want to see with these particular games. Now, the next light gun cabinet apparently is supposed to be Time Crisis. Let's see how that comes. Let's see how that plays. No 19-inch screen plans are on the horizon. Some later games are saying may still require some of the larger screens. Now, one thing that he did hint at, though, from one of the questions is branded risers are going to be coming. So instead of having the basic generic Arcade1up risers, you are looking at having ones that are branded specifically for the machines that don't necessarily come with them in the actual boxes. They are going to be sold on the website only, according to him. It's kind of loose, but from what he was saying, the actual website is going to be what we're looking at here. There are going to be new countercades coming later this year. Some of them are even going to be horizontal. So instead of being up and down, you're going to see them going side to side. What games? We really don't know. He said there's some Capcom games that are going to be coming. Hence, my nice little Capcom shirt right here. No Ghosts and Goblins, though. He did confirm that. So that's kind of a sad panda moment. Sad panda. He did touch on the Tron cabinet. I know many of us have kind of looked at wondering, are they going to be releasing a Tron cabinet? He said they've looked into it. They're not 100% sure on that one because I think more people would buy this based off of a more nostalgic kind of feel because there's only a few games that they could put on this particular machine, and they're all Tron games, just based on the look and the format of this. Some of the other games they're looking into, apparently they're looking into Cruis'n USA, Daytona USA, and they're wanting to do something special also for the 30th anniversary of Mortal Kombat. God, it's been so long. I can't believe Mortal Kombat is coming up on 30 years. I remember playing the original when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. Yeah, we'll go with that. It doesn't feel like they're getting any pressure from @Games or iArcade, but they are learning different things from them. Now they have tons of vendors that they are in touch with. Apparently they've even tried to talk to Nintendo, but Nintendo is very difficult to get through to. So don't expect anything like a Donkey Kong machine or a Mario Brothers or Duck Hunt machine anytime soon. But that's pretty much the rundown that I've got, guys. Like I said, I'm going to post a link to the actual interview below. So if you want to go sit down for a couple hours and watch it, feel free. But if you like the content that I went over here, you like my quick breakdown, I do hope that you give me a like and subscribe. Click that post notifications. And check out some of my other videos. But until the next video, guys, the appreciation is always here. I bid you all game on.